video's not going to go viral. You know, I had a few videos, I had a few posts go viral, but they changed the algorithms. I had X change the algorithms, and Elon Musk. I had Jack Dorsey change the algorithms. So I get only like 5 or 10 people. I'm not kidding. I used to get 100, 200, but I don't get that anymore. Because they changed algorithms. But this is a response to Tim Walz. Now, Tim Walz wants us to vote Democrat. Okay? He did his full speech that we should just give up everything we believe in. Give up everything. Because of these 2 shootings in Minnesota. And vote Democrat. That's what his speech was about. Now let me ask you this question. How many Democrats would be willing to vote Republican if there was a similar situation? They wouldn't. Because they would stick with the party because of the policies that their party represent. Now, the Democratic Party isn't really the party of personal accountability and personal responsibility. What Tim Walz doesn't go over is that these situations, these shootings, would have not started if you didn't have 2 people that decided they had to obstruct, impede, to stop immigration enforcement. These people didn't think ICE was law enforcement. They thought they had to do everything to stop this, even if it takes their lives. They became models after the deaths. And a lot of people are like, who doesn't want to be a model? You respected, you loved, you everybody, but you just ended up getting killed. Thing is, we saw in both situations 2 people who intentionally tried to stop a law enforcement operation. They might not think that ICE and Border Patrol is law enforcement, but the law says otherwise. They are law enforcement. The fact is, you had Lene Good go and bring her car and block, and physically block the agent. But people said, oh, why didn't they go around her? Well, she wasn't intending to block them from moving. She's intending to block them from doing their job, getting illegal immigrants. She's blocking the operation, not the vehicles per se. And that was her intention. You can see she antagonized. You can see her wife antagonizing. You can see she was doing everything possible. And then they tried to say, oh, the agent should have never shot. The problem with that theory is this. She moved that car towards the agent. People say, oh, she tried to turn right. Well, a reasonable person would have noticed that she could not pass up that agent. She could not get around that agent. The agent was right there. But she still tried, and she hit the agent. And yes, she did hit the agent. The video shows it. One of the videos shows it. People don't want to talk about the video that shows the other side of the call. Well, the agent's on one side, but it's from the other side, other angle of the agents. Okay? She hit him. Deadly force justification, when it's a moving vehicle, is when the moving vehicle is coming towards the agent can shoot. Okay? because the agent has credible feel, reasonable feel that that call's going to hit him. Now, the call did hit him. So the agent can use deadly force even after being hit. Now, people say, oh, police procedural says they don't get in front of call. Actually, they do. They typically do surround vehicles, stop vehicles. And the call was stopped at the time when that agent went around to the front. But they typically stop it, and they have the guns out. It is dangerous. It's not encouraged, but it is allowed even by federal procedure. Okay? If you look it up, it's allowed by federal law enforcement procedure. It's just not, and they say, oh, he should have stepped out of the way. Well, he tried to step out of the way. You can see him. But he still got hit. But the main thing is that when they're good, should have never tried to obstruct ICE. Nobody got shot except her. Because she was the one driving the car. Other people were around there filming. You didn't see the officers take his gun and start shooting, shooting everybody out there. You didn't see that. Same like Alex. In the situation of Alex, he comes in, he tries to stop law enforcement from detaining immigrants. If he would have just stayed away from law enforcement, if he would have just kept his camera from a distance, but that wasn't his intention. His intention was to obstruct law enforcement. Did anybody around there that didn't go face to face with the border patrol officers, did they get shot? No, but they still filmed. They still were filming. There was someone in the car that was close by the officers. It's right there. The officers were in front of a car. Did the ICE officer or the border patrol take the gun and start shooting that woman in that car? No, because that woman did not go face to face towards the officer. She was just filming. That tells you something. The Democratic Party doesn't think about personal accountability, personal responsibility. In fact, they were rioting just yesterday while they was hunting for Bambino, which they thought he was at a hotel. They were intending to murder him. Democrats were intending to murder Bambino. Now, let me ask you, does that seem right? Intending to murder Bambino? But that's the thing. And Tim Walz is telling you, give up your politics, vote Democrat. For what? Trying to murder Bambino? Clashing with federal law enforcement agents every day. You think that helps? Getting fireworks, throwing fireworks at them, throwing flare guns at them. Do you think that's really helping the situation, Democrats, what you're doing in Minnesota? I know, you don't think ICE is law enforcement. You don't think Border Patrol is law enforcement. But that's the thing, they are law enforcement. So, for me, I'm not giving up the politics side. Because I know what the Democrats are doing is not actually helping the situation. And what Tim Walz is saying, Tim Walz's message in Mayo Place, they're basically saying that these people don't need to be held accountable. They can do what they want. And they say, file Noam. The problem is, you file Noam, these people are going to wave their flags and set Mexico flags and say, oh, we won. It means we can go do some more assaulting federal law enforcement. We can do some more. We can do some more and more things that we done, clashes, riots, and because we got support. So let's talk about the politics side. If you're going to listen to him, you have to give up your fact that you stand against transgender locker room. That you're against transgender sports. You would have to welcome every freaking guy who claims to be female in the locker room with actual born females and sports. Let them play as actual sports. That you would have to give up being against DEI. DEI is race, okay? You're giving benefits because of somebody's race. Okay? That you would have to give up even immigration enforcement of people who do have criminal records. I mean, Biden just let people go. Now, I got to give credit to Obama. Obama was different than Biden. Yes, Obama had these programs that he kind of gave them Democrats a bone. He gave them this and this and this, but he took, because he deported a lot of people. And that he gave all these Democrats a bone, that they never got on him for the things that his ICE did. They didn't care because they were getting this and this and this. They got DACA, they got but when Obama ICE was doing family detentions, well, they kidnapped kids, as they say, and kidnapped their families, or they did warrantless searches of houses, or when they took people physically out of their vehicle. Similar stuff that Trump's ICE has done. They never got on him for it. The Democrats, general public, never got him because he would give them a bone. He would say, okay, we'll do DACA. We'll do this asylum program. So that's how he got away with not even being accountable. Now the ACLU, they freaking filed lawsuits to him. They didn't care he was a Democratic president. When he did those things, the ACLU still filed lawsuits again. Just like they filed lawsuits against Trump. And that's the thing. It shows no personal accountability, no personal responsibility, because no one held Obama accountable for the things he did. Well, can't say no one, like I said, the ACLU did. But they went to several cases and lost. Okay, because it was Democratic appointed judges, and the Democratic appointed judges weren't going to go against what Obama did. Okay? So they lost. And they only had hundreds of supporters, but now it's a Republican president. They have millions of supporters. So that's so issue. And let's go back to political. I cannot support Democrats because they want to go after pro-life organizations. They want to make sure that pro-life organizations do not exist. Whatever you believe, and that the exceptions, if you're just a person that believes in exceptions to abortion, that you believe there should be some limit, do not let the government just end these programs, because if the government does what Democrats want, the only people that would be getting money from the government would be abortion clinics like Planned Parenthood. Planned Parenthood gets money. They don't get money directly, but they get money for abortion access. And when Biden was in office, he expanded abortion access. He expanded transportation. They had transportation to go for abortions. And that's the thing. Besides immigration, besides transgender, besides abortion, the problem is that eventually will become like Biden had a program that was similar to socialist for farmers. It was a program where farmers could be cooperatives. And in the cooperative, actually the government had more control. And in this cooperative, they would only plant what the government tells them. They would only sell what the government tells them. Everything was good. Now, the program really wasn't a success because it was in its early stages. But that's exactly what Democrats want. And we see they'll put in the top mayor in New York is this admitted socialist, and he believes private business should be run by the government. Virtually no private business. Now, that's another Democrat policy. They're going towards socialism, and socialism is basically state-led business. Is that what you want? See, Tim Walz wants you to forget about that. He wants you to think, oh, well, it doesn't matter. Now, and then let's not forget about climate change. You know, when Trump's tariffs increased prices, those can be taken away by trade deals or Trump reducing tariffs. Now, Democrats don't want to reduce climate change, policies. They don't want to stop climate change policies. They don't believe in any deals unless the deal is climate change. Meaning, when 2022 and 2023, which the media don't want you to know this, prices went up. They want to blame Ukraine. They want to blame supply system. They want to blame all that. But if you look at the facts, prices went up every time every time Biden did one of those climate change policies. You know, the extra taxes on federal land, the policies on limiting drilling on federal land, all that stuff they say is needed. Prices went up. And you know why? Because that raises the price of fuel. Because the oil companies are like, you're going to make us pay more, we're going to make the general public pay more by raising the price of fuel. You know, and then you ask why, well, the store prices, they went up. The store prices went up for your groceries or your retail, whatever. It's because they have to pay more for fuel. It's false to think that these companies decided to go get electric vehicles. They didn't. These companies did not get electric vehicles. Instead, when the fuel costs went up because of Biden's policy, they raised the prices of the goods. So, and like I said, Democrats don't want to end those policies. They think it's needed. And they don't care if prices go up because they think you're going to go buy an electric car. Why did they do the Inflation Reduction Act? Oh, what was it was the other bill they passed, but they gave all those electrical credit for an electric car. Not many people took advantage of that. And they don't understand that's because parts are more expensive for electric vehicles. They don't understand that you got to get a mechanic that is licensed in and trained in electric cars to fix them, electric vehicles. That's what makes it more expensive. Now, we can go, now if you put Democrats in Congress, this is what's going to happen. Number one, you think prices will go up now? They're going to go up to Biden's 2022-23. How is that? Because they're going to do the Congressional Review Act or do a budget reconciliation bill, which does not need 60 votes in the Senate. It only needs 50. 51, let's say, majority. A majority, whatever the majority is then. And in the Senate. And we'll go back to Biden's policies. All those transgender policies you didn't like, well, that's going to come. We'll go back to that. The DEI, we'll go back to that. What else? The illegal immigrants staying, even ones with criminal records, we'll go back to that. The climate change, we'll go back to that. And there's nothing Congress can do, because Congress will be on his side. Congress will make sure that we go back to those Biden policies. There's nothing President Trump can do, because if they use the Congressional Review Act or Budget Reconciliation Bill, mostly the Congressional Review Act, the president can't stop it. He'll have to do what that bill says. And go back to Biden's policies. He'll have to implement all those policies again that you voted against. Do you want to go back to Biden's policies? You want the media to tell you who to vote for? Like CNN or your local news? Who wants you to vote Democrat? No. You didn't vote for Trump. I mean, because the media told you to vote for Trump. You didn't vote for Trump because your local news told you to vote for Trump. They all tried to make you vote for Kamala Harris because they all wanted to have a Democrat president. This is the time to vote against what the media tells you, local and mainstream. This is the time to vote against what the Democrats are telling you. This is a time to keep Trump in office, because Democrats already said they're going to impeach him. Now, they won't give him out of office. They just want to put an impeachment on his record. Make it a thought impeachment. See, I stand with Republicans. I stand with Republican policies. I stand with federal law enforcement. I know things go wrong. Things may happen. But I still stand with them over standing with the illegal immigrants, especially ones with criminal records. Remember, Biden just released them. He just released them. So, you can listen to Democrats. You can listen to the mainstream press, your local on your national news. Or you can vote for what you voted for in 2024. Vote for the policies that you support. Vote for the party that you supported because of Trump. Vote Republican. Thank you.